Have you ever woken up, reached for your phone, and within minutes your mood was already ruined? One negative comment, one headline, one comparison to someone else's highlight reel, and suddenly your energy, your clarity, your confidence gone. It feels like the world has hijacked your morning before you've even had the chance to breathe. And here's the truth. Most people live their entire lives this way, reacting, performing, explaining themselves to an invisible audience that doesn't actually care. We scroll, we compare, we defend, we beg for attention from people who forget our names in seconds. But the harshest critic, the most demanding observer, is not them. It's you. You're the one weighing every move, judging every step, wondering if you're good enough. You've turned your own mind into a courtroom, and the trial never ends. The ancient Stoics saw this problem long before social media existed. They lived in a world of empires, politics, and endless judgment. Yet they discovered something timeless. Freedom doesn't come from applause, and peace doesn't come from approval. Real freedom is found in silence, in self-mastery, in the ability to choose your own path regardless of who's watching. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man in the world, yet he didn't shout his wisdom to the crowd. He whispered to himself in a private journal. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, chose simplicity over spectacle. Epictetus, once a slave, built his philosophy on one simple truth. Master what is within your control. Release everything else. These men had the world's attention, yet they turned inward, and in doing so, they became unshakable. Now look at our world today. We're louder than ever. We're posting, sharing, performing nonstop. But deep down, we're weaker, more anxious, more restless. We've traded depth for display, presence for performance, truth for clout. So the question is, how do we take back control? How do we escape the noise, the performance, the endless need for validation? That's where Stoicism enters, not as an old philosophy locked in books, but as a living practice for right now. Today, I'll share with you 7 timeless rules that will help you silence the noise, focus inward, and build a life so steady that no amount of chaos can shake it. Because the world doesn't need more noise. The world needs more people unmoved by it. Before we dive into the 7 rules, let's pause and set the foundation. Because if you don't understand the philosophy behind them, these rules will just feel like motivational tips that fade away tomorrow. Stoicism is not a quick fix. It is a framework for life, a lens through which you see everything more clearly. At the heart of Stoicism is one principle. You control your choices, not the world. The Stoics called it prohairesis, your power to direct your own mind, no matter the storm outside. It's not about suppressing emotions or pretending you don't care. It's about caring for the right things and letting go of everything else. Think about this. Every single day you're bombarded with noise. Headlines, notifications, expectations, opinions. They all scream for your attention. And here's the trap. If you don't choose what to focus on, the world will choose for you. That's why people feel scattered, anxious, reactive. They've surrendered the steering wheel of their own mind. The Stoics refused to live this way. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet he wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Seneca, living in luxury, practiced voluntary simplicity, reminding himself that happiness doesn't come from abundance, but from needing less. Epictetus, once a slave, taught that no one could truly harm him unless he gave away his own judgment. Do you see the pattern? Power wasn't their titles, their wealth, or their circumstances. Power was in the silence within, the ability to remain steady no matter what happened around them. And this is where most of us struggle today. We confuse volume with power, visibility with influence, performance with progress. We chase applause, but we lose ourselves in the process. The Stoics remind us, your life is not a show. It is a practice. Now, let's be clear. Stoicism isn't about withdrawing from the world. It's not about living cold, detached, or indifferent. It's about engaging with life fully, but with discipline. It's about being present without being enslaved to every opinion, every reaction, every distraction. It's not escape. It's stability. That's why these 7 rules matter. They are not random tactics. They form a sequence, a chain of practices that sharpen your focus and bring you back to center. Each rule builds on the last, creating a foundation strong enough to withstand the noise of modern life. So here's the challenge. You can listen, nod your head, maybe even take notes. But unless you act, nothing changes. The crowd will still pull you back. The static will still drown you out. What separates those who transform from those who stay stuck is simple: action. And that action begins with rule number 1. The first step to reclaiming your power is this: silence the static. Rule 1, silence the static. Picture this. It's early morning. The sun hasn't even fully risen, and before you've taken your first deep breath, your hand reaches for phone. One swipe, one scroll, and suddenly you're in someone else's world. Their drama, their success, their opinions. And without realizing it, you've handed your piece over before the day even began. This is what the Stoics would call static, the noise that clutters your mind and weakens your focus. It's not just background chatter. It's the invisible thief of clarity. Epictetus warned us, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. He wasn't only speaking about money. He was pointing to mental wealth, the ability to guard your attention like it's gold. Because whatever occupies your thoughts shapes your entire day, your entire life. Think about how much static controls you. A headline makes you anxious about the world's problems you can't solve. A stranger's opinion ruins your mood for hours. A comparison on social media makes you question your progress. The noise doesn't just distract you, it defines you unless you silence it. So how do you break free? Start with 3 simple steps. The sacred hour. Give yourself the first hour of the day with no screens, no news, no outside noise. Instead, breathe, write, stretch, read something timeless. This isn't a luxury. It's survival for your mind. The drain filter. When someone throws an opinion your way, visualize it like water through a sieve. Let it pass. Smile, acknowledge, move on. Not every word deserves a home in your head. Explain nothing. Stop justifying your choices to people who don't live your life. The moment you quit defending your path, you start truly walking it. When you cut the static, something rare happens. You hear your own thoughts again. You begin to want what you want, not what the world told you to want. You stop being tossed around by moods and trends. You return to center, not cold, but grounded. So here's your practice today. Identify one consistent source of static in your life. That app, that account, that voice that drains you. Cut it off. Starve it of your attention. Notice what fills the silence. Focus, clarity, growth. Because the truth is simple. Until you silence the noise, you'll never hear yourself. Rule 2, move like nobody's watching. Look around today, and you'll notice something strange. People don't move freely anymore. Their shoulders are tense. Their words are calculated. Their energy feels rehearsed. It's not that they're exhausted. It's that they're performing. We've built lives like public profiles, always curated for an invisible audience we'll never meet. Every step feels judged. Every decision weighed. Every word spoken under a microscope. No wonder anxiety runs so deep. Most of us live like we're on stage, even when no one is watching. But here's the danger. When you live as though you're being observed, you slowly forget how to live at all. You begin to act with borrowed confidence, dream with borrowed fears, and measure your worth by applause instead of truth. Over time, the mask becomes a face, and you lose the rhythm that made you you. The Stoics saw this trap centuries ago. Seneca wrote, "Show me a man who is content to be seen as he is." He didn't mean sloppy or careless. He meant honest, grounded, free from the need to impress. That's real strength. Not shouting, not proving, simply being. So ask yourself, would you still chase the same goals if no one could see you succeed? Would you still post that quote, buy that car, make that move if no one could applaud? If the answer is no, then your life doesn't belong to you. It belongs to strangers. Here's how to take it back. Drop the performance. Every time you hesitate because of what they'll think, you chip away at your potential. Speak when it matters. Move without narration. Focus on process, not perception. Stop obsessing over how you look. Start obsessing over how you're growing. You're not a brand. You're a human being. Build in the shadows. The Stoics shape their character in silence. Not every move needs witnesses. Sometimes the most powerful transformation happens when no one is clapping. When you stop living for the crowd, you discover real freedom. Your movements loosen. Your words carry weight. Your presence deepens. People will feel it, but they won't know why. That's the point. So from today, walk like no one's watching. Speak like your voice is enough. Act like your life is yours to live, not to broadcast. Clapperboard Rule 3. Keep your energy expensive. Here's a truth that should shift your entire perspective. Your energy is wealth. Every morning you wake up with a limited supply, mental, physical, emotional. Think of it like carrying a stack of invisible currency in your pocket. The problem? Most people spend it recklessly. We give it away to pointless arguments that change nothing, to endless scrolling that leaves us weaker, not wiser, to gossip, to worry, to habits that drain us instead of building us. By noon, we're bankrupt, exhausted, distracted, and too empty to focus on what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius ruled one of the largest empires in history, yet even he wrote, "Be content to manage the present." Why? Because he understood that fractured energy, spread across regrets, worries, and endless obligations, is wasted energy. Look at your own life. How much of your power is leaking into places that don't deserve it? That friend who drains you, that habit that steals your focus, that constant need to respond to every message, every headline, every comment. When everything gets your attention, nothing truly valuable does. So, how do you protect your energy like the priceless asset it is? Start with 3 steps. Cut cheap commitments. Every yes to something meaningless is a no to something essential. Stop volunteering your peace for places you don't belong. Protect the core. You can't be everywhere. You can't help everyone. That doesn't make you selfish. It makes you focused. Give the best of yourself, not what's left of yourself. Say no like a leader. A clean, clear no is one of the most powerful sentences you can speak. No apologies. No long justifications. Just, that's not aligned with my priorities. We've been conditioned to believe that generosity means saying yes to everyone. But that's not generosity. That's self-abandonment. True generosity is only possible when you're full enough to give. So here's your challenge. Audit your schedule, your habits, your relationships. Which ones make you stronger? Which ones drain you dry? Identify the leaks. Cut them, because what you don't cut will eventually cut you. Your energy is premium. Invest it with intention. Spend it where it multiplies, not where it disappears. Clapperboard Rule 4. Kill the echo chamber. Right now, whether you notice it or not, you're living inside an echo chamber. It feels safe. It feels familiar, but it's quietly suffocating your growth. Think about it. The people you talk to agree with everything you say. The content you consume reinforces what you already believe. The routines you repeat keep you stuck in the same cycles. Comfort disguises itself as progress, but comfort is not growth. Familiarity is not wisdom, and confirmation is not clarity. The philosopher Socrates built his entire legacy on one brutal truth. The only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing. That humility, admitting there's more to learn, is what made him the wisest man in Athens. But your echo chamber robs you of that humility. It convinces you you're right, while quietly keeping you wrong. The Stoics didn't avoid challenge. They invited it. They sought out hard truths. They welcomed criticism, not because they enjoyed conflict, but because they refused to live small lives wrapped in soft lies. So how do you break free from your echo chamber? Try this. Audit your circle. If everyone around you agrees with you, you're not in a circle, you're in a trap. Seek people who challenge your thinking without disrespecting it. Growth demands contrast. Change your inputs. Your feed is not neutral. Algorithms feed you comfort, not wisdom. Read books by people who disagree with you. Watch thinkers who unsettle you, not to copy them, but to expand beyond yourself. Question everything. Ask, is this belief truly mine or did I inherit it? Is this routine still serving me or just keeping me busy? The courage to question yourself is the beginning of freedom. Breaking the echo chamber doesn't mean arguing with everyone or rejecting your values. It means valuing truth over validation, wisdom over ego, growth over comfort. So here's today's challenge. Expose yourself to one voice that sees the world differently. Have one real conversation with someone who challenges your perspective. Question one long-held belief. Not to abandon it, but to own it more fully. Because staying comfortable is the fastest way to stay behind. Growth lives outside the chamber. Step out and step up. Rule 5. Watch, don't react. Someone says something sharp. Your heart rate spikes. Your fingers start typing before your mind is caught up. Minutes later, or maybe hours, you regret it. You didn't respond. You reacted. And the truth is, most of us live on autopilot reactions, not deliberate responses. We've been trained to jump at everything. A text, a headline, a tone of voice, a glance. We outsource our peace to whatever happens around us, like puppets pulled by invisible strings. But the Stoics knew a different way. Epictetus said, "It's not events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them." In other words, the world isn't the problem. Our reaction is. Between what happens and how we respond, there is a space, and in that space lies our freedom. So how do you reclaim that space? How do you stop being dragged by every wave? Create the gap. Emotions are signals, not instructions. When you feel anger rising, breathe, count, step back, ask yourself, is this about now, or is this about something deeper I haven't healed yet? Detach from the hook. Not every comment deserves your energy. Not every provocation requires your defense. Let people be wrong about you. Let the internet shout into the wind. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Observe yourself. Become your own scientist. When you feel irritation or jealousy, name it, "I'm experiencing anger." That simple act creates distance. You stop being the emotion and start watching it. The people who appear unshakable are not emotionless. They feel the sting. They hear the criticism. They notice the chaos. But they choose not to be owned by it. They don't suppress. They contain. They don't explode. They navigate. Think of emotions like weather. Reactivity is getting caught in the storm. Observation is noticing the rain while staying grounded. Here's your practice. The next time you feel triggered, pause. Before you fire back, watch. Before you explain, breathe. Protect your energy by choosing response over reaction, because reaction comes from your wound. Response comes from your wisdom, and wisdom will always be stronger. Rule 6. Turn your back on clout. There's a new addiction no one warns you about. It doesn't come in a bottle or a pill. It comes in the form of likes, comments, views, and shares. It's called clout, and it's quietly stealing your ambition. Look around. Entrepreneurs spend more time filming productivity hacks than building real businesses. Artists design thumbnails instead of creating art. Lifters spend hours recording gym sessions but cut their workouts short. And maybe, without realizing it, you've fallen into the same trap, confusing the appearance of progress with actual progress. Clout feels good. It gives you a quick rush, a sense of recognition. But here's the lie. It rewards you for showing, not for becoming. It convinces you that looking successful is the same as being successful. And once you buy into that lie, your hunger fades. Why? Because your brain mistakes the applause for achievement. Seneca warned us long before social media existed. It is a shame to grow weary of learning before we reach excellence. He was calling out the danger of chasing recognition instead of mastery. So how do you turn your back on clout and reclaim the discipline of real growth? Chase the craft, not the claps. Post less. Build more. Stop trying to look like a beast. Become one. True strength doesn't need an audience. Share after, not during. Don't broadcast every step of your process. Let your results speak for you. Transformation is most powerful when it surprises people. Choose legacy over likes. Ask yourself, what am I building that will still matter in 10 years? Will it survive when the algorithm changes? That's where your focus belongs. The Stoics knew that real excellence is forged in silence, not applause. Marcus Aurelius didn't write meditations for followers. He wrote it for himself as practice. So here's your challenge. If no one could see you succeed, would you still do the work? If your growth had to happen in total silence, would you still commit? If the answer is yes, you've already stepped into rare power. Because clout fades, legacy doesn't. Rule 7. Protect your comeback story. While you're busy explaining yourself to strangers, chasing approval, and posting every move online, life is quietly preparing you for something greater. The setbacks, the delays, the struggles no one sees, these are not signs of failure. They are the foundation of your comeback story. But here's the paradox. You can't build a powerful comeback if you leak it piece by piece for applause. You can't shock the world with transformation if you live stream every small step. Growth loses its power when it's performed for approval. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote his most profound reflections in a private notebook never meant to be published. He wasn't curating content. He was shaping his character. He reminded himself, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. That's the essence of protecting your story. It's about becoming, not broadcasting. So how do you protect your comeback story? Train in the shadows. Your late nights, early morning sacrifices, these are not for feed. They're for you. You're not hiding. You're building. Star the audience. Every time you explain your process, you weaken it. Every time you announce your goals too soon, you lose drive. Let your work mature in silence. Build first. Reveal later. Don't release your vision before it's ready. Protect your breakthroughs. Keep your fire internal, not for show, but for fuel. Think of the people who truly change the world. Their transformations often arrived as a surprise, not because they weren't working, but because they were working in silence. They let the results announce them. So here's your challenge. Resist the urge to explain your vision to people who can't understand it. Write it down for yourself. Document your growth privately, not for algorithms, but for legacy. Then, when the time comes, let your results thunder so loudly that no introduction is needed. Because a true comeback story doesn't whisper updates along the way. It arrives undeniable, unshakable, and unforgettable. Protect yours. You've now walked through 7 timeless rules. Each one is powerful on its own, but together they form something much greater. A shield for the soul, a compass for the mind, and a rhythm for life. Think about what happens if you truly live them. You silence the noise that clouds your judgment. You move freely, no longer chained to invisible eyes. You protect your energy like a treasure chest, spending it only on what matters. You escape the comfort trap of an echo chamber, where agreement keeps you small. You learn to pause, to watch before reacting, regaining the power most people throw away in seconds. You turn your back on empty recognition, building substance in the dark instead of chasing attention in the light. And finally, you guard your story, allowing it to grow quietly until it becomes undeniable. This isn't about adopting random habits. It's about transformation from the inside out. The Stoics understood that greatness isn't forged in noise. It's carved in silence. Marcus Aurelius didn't beg for validation. He journaled his reflections in solitude, shaping an empire while shaping himself. Seneca didn't flaunt his wealth. He practiced simplicity to keep his spirit uncorrupted. Epictetus didn't wait for freedom from chains. He claimed freedom in his mind first. And now, in a world more chaotic than theirs, you have the same choice. Will you keep playing the endless game of performance, endlessly explaining, endlessly reacting, endlessly comparing? Or will you step off the stage, turn inward, and find the kind of strength no audience can give and no critic can take away? Here's the truth. Most people who hear these words will nod, agree, maybe even highlight a line. And then they'll go right back to feeding the noise. They'll keep scrolling. They'll keep chasing likes. They'll keep rehearsing for strangers. That's their choice. But it doesn't have to be yours. You don't need to live fractured, drained, restless. You don't need to measure your worth by the crowd's applause. You don't need to explain yourself to people who aren't walking your path. You need only one thing: the courage to choose differently. The courage to stand still when the world runs in circles. The courage to move quietly when others perform loudly. The courage to protect what is sacred, your time, your energy, your peace, your story. Because when you live this way, something extraordinary happens. People respect your boundaries because you finally enforce them. They value your time because you no longer waste it. They feel your gravity not because you shout louder, but because you stand firmer. Most importantly, you respect yourself. That is the essence of becoming unshakable. Not louder, not flashier, but steadier. And once you reach that place, the world cannot pull you back. Now we've reached the moment where you decide who you want to be. You've heard the 7 rules. You felt the challenge. But wisdom without action is just noise. The difference between those who transform and those who remain stuck is this: they act. So here's my invitation, and it's simple. Don't just listen, declare. Don't just nod, commit right now. Choose one rule that spoke to your soul the loudest, the one that hit you like lightning. Maybe it was silencing the static. Maybe it was walking freely without the weight of eyes. Maybe it was protecting your story in silence. Whatever it is, take it, own it. And I want you to do something bold. Type it in the comments below, not for me, but for you. Right? I choose silence over noise. Or my energy is premium. Or I grow in the dark. Whatever line captures your promise, put in writing. Why? Because when you put words into the world, you build accountability. You build a contract with yourself. This isn't about applause. It's about proof. Proof that you are done living for strangers. Proof that you are ready to reclaim your focus, your clarity, your peace. So don't just leave this video with a good feeling. Leave it with a commitment. Be the rare person who doesn't just consume inspiration, but embodies it. If this message struck something deep inside you, subscribe. Not to follow me, but to join a movement of people who choose depth over display, focus over fame, peace over performance. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people like you, people who stand firm, walk quietly, and live powerfully. Your silence is your strength. Your focus is your fire. Your life is your proof. Now, what will you choose?